This week on the Movies and Stuff show, we talk about episode 8, teaser reactions, Fate of the Furious box office, post-credit scenes, and then we're going to do a retro review of Star Trek Into Darkness. Stay tuned. And welcome once again to the Movies and Stuff show. My name is Dan. As you can tell, Marty is off this week. So joining me is my other co-host, Abe.
Marty is off every week.
Good point.
Yes. Just saying.
Point. Burn. And making her second appearance on the show this year, Amanda.
Yay!
And she's keeping her streak alive of seeing the finest in cinema when she joins us.
I think she's going to have a lot of positive things to talk about in this movie. I'm not going to say film. I'm going to say in this movie.
I wouldn't call it film either.
Oh. Two film snobs.
Movie snobs, apparently. Let's talk some stuff first, though. Before we get into STID, as the kids call it.
Is that what they call it?
Uh-huh.
STIDs. Let's talk some stuff. Weekly stuff. We're going to talk about Star Wars Episode 8 trailer. Let's get the reactions. Abe.
It looked like a Star Wars movie. It looked like it was just all kinds of Star Warsing. I don't know. It's the second trailer in a row that opened with somebody just gasping for breath. First one was Finn popping up, and now it's Rey. Is that Disney shorthand for really grabbing the attention of people?
Yeah.
I guess so.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
I would rather it be kind of like Total Recall, where they're gasping for air because their eyes are bulging out and stuff like that. I'd rather watch that. Yeah. I won't say underwhelmed by this. It's what I was expecting. It's what I was expecting from a Star Wars trailer. It's a teaser trailer. It was. I think my reaction to Abe was just like meh. It was fine. There's nothing super special about this. I'd rather them kind of keep it secretive if possible. Not show a lot of stuff. I think trailers can ruin the movie experience if they show too much. I'm fine with this, and it's Star Wars. We know what we're gonna get. If it was any other just brand new kind of sci-fi story, this trailer would be exciting. But since it's Star Wars and since we've seen this all before, not so much.
So I was actually planning to bring this up later too, but I don't know if you guys know what a Markov chain model is. But there's you can sort of train a computer program to generate something new when you seed it. And so this trailer felt like it was a Markov chain model for a Star Wars trailer, where it was like you just had a computer ingest all Star Wars things and then spit scenes back out randomly and then shift a few parameters, like the colors that people are wearing or something. And that's how they got the new trailer. And then also randomly select tracks of John Williams music.
That was really distracting. Yeah.
So, I mean, sentiment, which has been expressed in various other times and ways, but it felt like it was built by a computer, which means I felt like it was missing the heart. Yeah, and it was lacking substance. It looks like it was just kind of thrown together, so you could just get excited about whatever you imagined.
Amanda, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say it's kind of like the same story behind. There's algorithms that could basically write hit pop songs.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
It feels like the same thing. I agree with you. It feels like they take all Star Wars ever shot on film, throw it in this random generator, and it's like let's have some peaks and valleys in regards to what we've seen people react to in the theaters, and then bloop, there you go. There's your trailer.
Well, yeah, that's what it felt like. Pre Rogue One. Let's go back to the Wayback Machine. Pre Rogue One, Amanda. You think you were more excited about Episode 8, or do you think Rogue One had no bearing on your anticipation of Episode 8? Did that change anything?
It's hard because I don't really get excited about things until they get closer.
Right. Okay.
And then I get like really, really, really excited. So like The Force Awakens, I wasn't excited about it when we bought tickets a month ahead of time. It was the week of when I suddenly went, whoa, wait, we're going to get new Star Wars and it doesn't look like it sucks yet. So my expectations right now are still pretty neutral. And so I'm like, oh, look, people on Twitter are talking about Star Wars like they do every day. So it's not like the teaser really changed that.
Yeah, we keep saying it. They keep popping out these trailers way too soon. Like it's just I get building like anticipation, but it's not even May.
Mm-hmm.
Like May 4th would have been, maybe May 4th, the whole like, May the 4th be with you type thing. Maybe do a teaser trailer then, but it's not even May yet. And looking at the chat real quick, Robert Melee says Marty's going to be so pissed when he sees the episode, and then Marty says already pissed. So Marty's watching the episode. I wonder if he's watching the episode on the bus back home from New York. I wonder if that's what he's doing, or if he just stopped at a bar and they're watching the show at the bar. That is my guess. Is our show is on at a bar and he's sitting at a bar watching us there. Marty, what do you have to say about the trailer? Go ahead. There you go. And Talia just joined us. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Hello.
The chat on my end is just a little laggy right now. It's that's weird. I'm just now seeing Talia.
Marty saying the only reason they put out the trailer was to make the Celebration fans happy, which I also say, move the Celebration to May then. Why shouldn't Star Wars Celebration just always be in May, around May the 4th? Right?
Is that the anniversary of the first one?
No, though. But I'm just saying May the 4th be with you type shit.
Oh God, I forgot about that.
Marty is on the bus. He's on the bus. His game got canceled apparently. Like the lights went off at the field. They didn't want to play
in the darkness.
They couldn't play in the dark. Into the darkness. Yeah, into darkness. They couldn't play into darkness. Marty. The lights saved him from blowing another game.
I
don't know. Star Wars. If Marty has anything else to say positive about it, he can. But I don't know if he can say anything. It's a trailer. It wasn't anything exciting to me.
Yeah, it's a trailer.
Like that red dust on that. What was the?
That was bold. That was innovative.
It's colorful. JJ would have got shit on so badly for that shot.
You think so?
Don't lie. Don't lie. Marty.
Oh.
Don't lie. Come on. JJ would have got a lot of shit for that. Calling him out is not on the show.
Yeah.
But he's in the chat. So. All right, moving along. If Marty has any comments, he can, because now Abe can ask him some more questions about Star Wars, because we're going to talk about Fate of the Furious and the international box office. And my question to you, Abe, we all know that Fate of the Furious is killing it at the international box office. It's made a ton of money internationally.
Yes, right.
More money than... What has it made more money than?
Wasn't it more
than 4 days?
More than Rogue One, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's made a lot of money. But is it fair to compare the two? Because Fate of the Furious opened up in China instantly in the first 4 days.
I don't know if it is fair or not. I mean, obviously,
I don't think it's a fair comparison. I think these weekend
it is a little misleading because
Yeah.
people are pointing to that number to say that it's like as big as Rogue One. And if you're not comparing the same numbers, then it's kind of dishonest to do that.
Well, we can already say China $193 million for Fate of the Furious, $69 million in China for Rogue One. That's an apples to apples comparison, right? Or no?
Sure, but if you took the 69 that it made in China and added it to their open weekend, which movie would have been more?
Oh gosh, that's a good question.
Rogue One.
Yeah.
That is correct.
Right.
If you would have taken the 69, whatever, and you added it to that opening, box office weekend, then, I don't know how much it opened in China, though. We're saying 69, that was cumulative, right? So maybe,
that's a lifetime.
In China, maybe it was like 30 or 30 something, 35. But still, I think with China included, Rogue One has the bigger opening weekend, if that was the case.
Do we think Lifetime? Do you think Fate of the Furious has a chance to overtake Rogue One? You think can it hit $1 billion? It's halfway there.
I mean, I don't know the repeat. You're not going to get repeat viewings on this, right? I mean, you think people are going to watch Fate of the Furious twice? Is there really a reason to watch Fate of the Furious, like a Fast and the Furious movie, more than once? Are you going to break down the key scenes?
I can't point.
I don't think we're the target demographic for multiple viewings, but there are people who will go see it.
I can't point to a blockbuster that came out in a long time that was worth going to the theater twice to see.
See, that's the
BVS.
thing.
Yeah.
BVS saw it twice.
I
saw Avengers like 5 times.
How long's that been now?
The first Avengers movie?
Yeah. When was that?
It's like 2011, 2012.
12.
12. I think 12.
Yeah.
I'll book in that. I'll say since the Avengers, there probably hasn't been a blockbuster worth going to the theater to see twice.
Not even BVS?
I went more because I couldn't believe everybody was shitting on it so hard.
I saw Star Trek. I saw all the Star Trek movies except Into Darkness twice in the theaters.
I don't want to do a hashtag synergy yet because we can't hashtag synergy our own show that we're talking about, but that was close.
I just try to keep us on topic,
That was close, Amanda. Let's look at the chat. So Marty's saying last celebration was in June, so this was sooner, but the complaints were that they didn't show enough there, and the feelings coming out of the celebration were better in general. The 40th anniversary stuff and tributes to Fisher were awesome. Furious made more than Force Awakens, but not a fair comparison in international markets. Force Awakens didn't open in China for the same points I was making.
Right, it's the same points you were making. But, it's always the Star Wars fans that bring up the box office. Always. I remember before Force Awakens, oh yeah, it's going to overtake Avatar. No. It's always the Star Wars fans that want to take over the box office and rule it.
Right.
So.
Tally's saying Dark Knight, but I mean Dark Knight was Dark Knight is a yes, I think that's one of the movies that a lot of people saw multiple times. But we're saying since Avengers, right? Because Dark Knight was
was it?
It was 2008. Well, because
it was 2008.
Oh my gosh, we're so old.
No, shit. I can't believe that was.
Well, because we did the 10-year anniversary. We did like the 10-year anniversary of
Batman
Begins when we had Mark Boone Jr. on.
Yeah, right.
Which I guess we could say hashtag synergy.
There you go. I gave Dan the ability to put words on the screen. Heaven help us all.
I can put words in Marty's mouth right now, and no one would actually know if I'm telling the truth or not. Yeah. So, I don't know, man. I think Fate of the Furious is going to make a ton of money, but I think all these movies are slated to make a ton of money this year, right? I mean, we got Guardians of the Galaxy coming out.
Oh yeah.
In a few weeks, I think 3 weeks. I think there was a press screening last night of it. So some things have been leaking out about that, which I guess we'll talk about in topic 3.
Nice segue, man. Wow.
Topic 3 is apparently Guardians of the Galaxy 2 has 5
goddamn
post-credit scenes.
Okay, so is this going to be like the movie Clue?
I
where
don't
there's
think so.
just like different
No.
endings
I
depending
think
on
you're
what
just gonna
theater you
show
go
all
to?
5. I think it's going to get to the point where I'm going to have to wait to drink my soda until the credits start rolling
Oh shit!
because it's going to be a whole nother movie.
Going
And
full,
I'm not going to,
full Return of the King here.
I honestly like maybe I'll just go to the bathroom during the end of the movie, miss the ending, and come back to watch the 5 post-credit scenes.
So I like, are we all in agreement that this is stupid? Because I could go the other way.
I'm saying so ridiculous. I say this is awful.
I'm
But you
saying-
want to go the other way? You're saying this is awesome?
I could.
Okay, go ahead.
So
Play the old devil's advocate here.
okay, so I find that the post-credit scenes, because they aren't always, they're the most like comic books. Because those sketches are sometimes just little standalone moments. And then sometimes they're also exclusively tie-ins to other things. And those are the two extremes of comic books. And so I feel like if you just had little 3 or 4 minute bits of comic book movie in between just random other stuff, it would be more like the authentic comic book experience. Did that?
Yeah, I can't argue with that. Yeah, I mean, that's,
I can argue with that.
go for it.
These things should just be on their own. They should be like a part of promotional materials. Whether you're dropping them on YouTube to create excitement, additional DVD extras.
I got another one. This generation is going to be the first generation that knows what the best boy does.
Well,
because they're going to sit. Kids these days are going to sit through all the credits and they're going to find out who the best boy is.
Good point.
Do we hashtag Bryan Singer? No.
Hashtag Singer.
There you go. That is wildly inappropriate, Dan.
Yeah, all right, fine.
I don't care. Okay.
Hashtag best boy.
I've made a huge mistake.
This is awful. This is you've destroyed the show now, Abe. You've given me too much power. I'm wielding this power like a maniac, and we're in trouble.
You know what?
The only worst thing you could do is give this power to Marty.
Yeah, well, that ain't gonna happen. But Amanda's previous point, I think, applies to this one. This feels like such an idea created by a spreadsheet. It turns out our audience surveys love post-credit scenes. Let's give them 5.
5.
Yeah.
What's that?
Bold, how innovative, how creative.
I think it's going to start turning into like prop bets. Over under on post-credit scenes.
Oh my God, that'd be funny.
I mean, Marty's saying, when was the last time a Marvel post-credit mattered? I'm assuming the Doctor Strange one will matter.
I can't for the life of me remember what the hell that was now.
That was Thor.
Oh,
Drinking the beer.
Yeah.
Which was kind of a fucked up thing, because it's talking about Loki, and it's like, oh, so the big kind of mystery from the second Thor movie, is wrapped up in a post-credits trailer. It's like, oh, that's what's going on. That's cool. But I mean, the post-credits trailer for the post-credits sting or whatever for Guardians of the Galaxy 1 was the Howard Duck thing, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
With Benicio, right?
Yeah. I just don't remember them that well.
Is it weird to have Benicio del Toro and Jeff Goldblum in the same universe? Like, isn't that a lot of strangeness? And that's a lot of oddness.
If the Marvel Cinematic Universe is what it took to put them together wearing those outrageous costumes, then it was all worth it. Even all of the Hulk movies were worth it.
I'm loving Goldblum in what I see from this Thor movie. That alone would get me to go. I mean, I'm a fan of the first 2 Thor movies anyway, but Goldblum, from what I've seen so far, would get me to go see Thor 3 if I wasn't
Yeah, if we're gonna have to
contractually
go with
obligated to see it.
Yes.
You know. All right. Is that enough stuff?
That was, I think, yeah, plenty.
Plenty of stuff. Let's go on to the meat of the show.
Star Trek.
Star Trek: Into Darkness. Star Trek, comma.
Wasn't it just straight Star Trek Into Darkness?
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
It's Star Trek.
It was like a sentence. Yeah.
Yeah. There's Star Trek hyphen dash.
I think I always read it as Star Trek Into Darkness. Like the trek is a verb.
Yes, I see that. Yes.
I didn't ever think of it that way in my head. I always just had
made
them
it right on the
at.
spot.
I just made it up. Yeah.
That's great.
Mhm.
Great, because we were just saying before the show. See, this is why we have to record the show. Is that Amanda, without her notes, without scripted elements, flails. But there she is. She's shining.
Yeah.
She's shining by.
What's it been? Has it been 20 minutes without me discussing the Ice Mermaid Princess?
Yes, it has.
Dude, just do it. You know, we can probably Marty can tweet the shit out of that segment. You want a minute?
No.
You want a minute to talk about it?
No, I don't. I don't want this more documented than I've already documented myself in moments of weakness.
Oh my god.
So the catalyst for this episode, if Abe wants to pull up the image easily enough, on our Facebook page, we had a comment. Your comments calling Star Trek Into Darkness ruinous are ridiculous. It is the highest grossing Star Trek film of all time. It has the second highest Metascore and second highest IMDb rating of any Star Trek film, only second to Star Trek 2009. Yes, higher than Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan. And I would hardly call Benedict Cumberbatch a flavor of the month. How is the ride up there on the Backlash bandwagon? I think this was specifically directed towards me.
You're the one that usually shoots your mouth off like that, so yeah.
I vaguely recall, maybe it was during our Star Trek Beyond, Star Trek Beyond, #Synergy episode. That I probably brought Star Trek Into Darkness into all of this, and possibly called it ruinous. I don't think I called Cumberbatch a flavor. I think Cumberbatch is a fine actor outside of the Star Trek universe and the Lord of the Rings universe. And I'm sure
I feel like you may have questioned the casting decision and speculated that they just said, this guy's popular right now and he's friends with some of the other people in the movie. Let's just get him in there somehow, anyhow.
That sounds about right. That actually is right. Because I do think that that's the case. Like, there was a string of Cumberbatch was the hot name and just throw him into everything. And I think the doing the voice of Smaug was one of those examples.
But he's got a good voice for that.
You think so?
Yeah.
You think he was good for that? I think they could have gotten anyone for that. I don't think they needed Cumberbatch to do Smaug.
I mean, who would have you had? Alan Rickman was already dead.
He wasn't dead at that point. He could have done that.
Well, then I guess it is a little offensive they didn't ask him first.
Well, there you go. I mean, Benicio del Toro.
I don't know. I think he was fine. I think
Jeff Goldblum.
Oh my god.
Christopher Walken. Smaug. Come a little closer here.
Oh my god.
Closer. There you go. Pacino. Pacino Smaug.
Stop before this turns into an impressions segment.
It would be really bad because all my impressions sound exactly alike. We actually, in my old podcast, we had an episode. It was really funny where we had an impressions episode, and it was pretty hilarious. I'm not going to #synergy because I don't even know where you can find it anymore. Gary Oldman is the voice of Smaug. That's what Talia's saying. Gary Oldman.
Okay.
There you go. So yeah, no, that was probably my point. Was at the time, I think Cumberbatch was just the hot name, and I mean, one of my issues with the casting in general was, I mean, it was so obvious of what the character was going to be. I think everyone knew what it was going to be, and in true JJ mystery box fashion, no, that's not it. No. The island, no, it's not this. No, we've heard it before.
No,
the island was gone. You know,
John. What was this, John Harrison? Was
yeah.
It was a terrible secret. I remember, I think it was Capone over at Ain't It Cool posted a little picture of Khan Jr. from King of the Hill at the bottom of his article. It just, it was a terrible kept secret, and you kept hoping it wasn't the case, but it was the case.
And I wonder if it would have changed things if they would have came out the bat and it just says like, yeah, we're gonna redo Khan. So what?
People do not like being lied to.
Right. I think that is part of the issue here is that the expectations, like people went in. Okay, so to address Jarrett's comment about riding the Backlash bandwagon, so I did not see this movie in the theaters.
Oh.
I didn't see Star Trek 09 in theaters either. I saw that on a plane, and I actually loved it. By the way, I loved 09. I saw it on an airplane. I was like, wow, it's really good. So the only Star Trek, of recent ones I saw was the last one, Beyond, right? So it'd been a while because I got burned a lot watching Star Trek films in the theater. There was a lot of Next Generation films that I went to the theater for, and I was like, I don't know if I'm going to trust going to see. So for me to say that Star Trek Into Darkness is ruinous, possibly I could take that back. Possibly, if I said that, it could take it back because I think there was a couple of Next Gen movies that were also ruinous, we could say.
Well, we got to this point because of Star Trek Nemesis.
Yeah.
That's the one that, take it out back and put a bullet in its head. Yeah.
Which still had a fine performance in it.
Oh, yeah. It's from Tom Hardy.
Yeah. I think Hardy was really good in Nemesis. I think Hardy was better in Nemesis than Cumberbatch was Into Darkness.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got to that point where they had to reboot the series because of Nemesis, right? So, but they were able to recover.
Yeah, Star Trek in 2009. Yeah,
I would like to argue that the only reason that Star Trek Into Darkness is the highest grossing Star Trek film of all time is because it completely destroyed Beyond's chance of being the highest grossing Star Trek film of all time. Star Trek Beyond had to dig itself out of such a hole because of Star Trek Into Darkness that it didn't even have a chance. Now, I think the next Star Trek movie that they put out, because of the goodwill that Beyond has brought, has a solid chance of pushing forward. But so talking about the Backlash bandwagon, so I didn't watch it when it came out. I heard a lot of negative stuff about it, and I went into it like with anything. I try to go into it with an open mind. I want to watch when I want to sit down and watch a movie. I want to enjoy it. I want to, just because we watch Amateur Night #Synergy, I wanted to like it. I didn't want to hate this movie. So when I saw Star Trek Into Darkness, in fact, like I probably went into it saying it's like so many people hate it that it can't be that bad. Like the BVS syndrome. It's like it can't be that bad. I really am gonna like this. And then when I sat down and finally watched it, I was like, nope. This is just atrocious. What they did to Spock's character, they're trying to do the flip of turning Spock into the more Kirk character in this, I thought was just terrible. And the whole him yelling Khan part,
Okay, so was Spock yelling Khan worse than Anakin yelling no when he becomes Vader? Which of those movies broke your heart harder?
I say Spock doing the flip flop.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so. Yeah, because at that point we already saw this Anakin complain about sand beneath his toes, so we knew what kind of Anakin that we were getting.
It's such a just nonsense reference to put in there too. When Kirk is yelling "Khan" in Star Trek II, he's acting, he's hamming it up, he's playing into Khan's plans. He wants Khan to think he really is trapped, even though he knows he's not trapped. This is it's just yanking a reference out for no reason and then slamming it into a part.
It's triple blood.
It's
triple blood.
Well, the whole idea that this is some 9/11 allegory or whatever, it's borderline offensive.
I would like to take Amanda's segment before where she's talking about the Star Wars trailer and apply it to this film.
Yes.
Because that's what it is. It was accessing a full database of all the footage of every single Star Trek movie ever made and saying, what gets fan reaction? Slap it together, there's your fucking film.
Or just making a trailer that way and then reverse engineering the movie that it was supposed to represent and ending up with crap.
There you go. There you go. Yeah. Build a trailer and then it's like, oh, let's build a movie around this trailer now. Try to fill in the holes. This is true JJ mystery box style, though, right? It's like I have this idea. Here's the idea. Run with it. Peace. Bye.
But that's the problem. It took them forever to just get this out. There was a long gap between Star Trek and Star Trek Into Darkness, and apparently they just never ever even got the story the way they wanted at all. Even JJ, he was doing his apology tour after this, if you recall. He was apologizing.
I think JJ was at the point where he had this idea and he wanted to do, as you mentioned, like this 9/11 type allegory and had this vision. Like, I'll tell you what, there are some aspects of this film visually that I do like. Like I like some of the visuals that were done in it of the attack, of the aftermath of that. I think it was craftsmanship wise well done. It didn't evoke emotions to me though, and if that's what he was trying to do, then that failed. But it looked. The action stuff looked good there.
I still think, and I know I'm in the minority sometimes about this, but I still think JJ knows how to shoot a scene. He knows how to give it some energy. Oftentimes it's superficial energy, but it is there. And production wise, this is a fantastic looking film. And that's what breaks your heart, because Star Trek fans have always been, these are the shows that are in movies that have always been kind of little budget starved each time. So when you get to see it on a grand scale, it's cool, but this is what you end up with as far as a plot.
Amanda, you're going to make a point, and I cut you off. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was going to say that I saw Star Trek 2009 in theaters twice, and then actually watched it at least once with the director's commentary before Into Darkness came out. And I wish I could remember specifics, because I'm not quite willing to go back and listen to it all again. But it seems like, and maybe somebody else can corroborate this observation. It seems like JJ has kind of a low estimation of audience intelligence. And like, he was talking about certain things where he's like, oh, we had the order of this switched, but we thought it would confuse people, or this way it made more sense for people who weren't paying attention. And I feel like that may also have played a little bit into how Into Darkness worked, was just his feeling that people were going to be confused, and that he just had to make each scene like really dramatic for the people who didn't know how to feel because they weren't paying attention. Because like for Khan, one of the things I liked about old Khan is that there's a little bit of nuance and a little bit of subtlety, just a little. He doesn't play. He's a villain that has like one or two motivations and like a little bit of ego and a little bit of, there may be some hubris to his fall there. and Cumberbitch was just like the grimdark, Dark Knight version of a villain. Like he was more Vulcan than Spock.
Yes,
and like it was just like he is the dark, emotionless, whatever robot man.
Which again, I think plays into that whole flip-flopping, right? Because I mean, if you look at the original, like Khan and Kirk were very much
they
big
hated each other because they were similar.
They were so similar. So flip-flopping, you make the Khan character more like Spock and more robotic and more dark and brooding than even Spock is, to show that Spock deep down actually is a human, and he's got human feelings and emotions as well. He's not this horrible person like. What was his name? Randy Johnson. Bob
John Harrison. Yeah.
John Johnson.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Might as well have been.
Right.
But I want to address that idea that JJ thought this was a movie for the people that weren't paying attention. Maybe.
I don't know. I just think that he has a low estimation of his audience.
Right. I mean, Khan's plan, correct me if I'm wrong, let's just talk plot just for a second. Khan's plan is to attack a Starfleet installation from the inside, thereby triggering an emergency event, thereby attacking the top brass of Starfleet, then beaming from Earth straight to Kronos, and then hoping that Starfleet will enlist a captain to fire new stealth torpedoes directly at the Klingon homeworld that have the frozen crew members in the torpedoes, and thereby he gets his people back. The Federation and Klingon Empire start warring, and he can take over. Is that what's going on?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay,
something like that.
I just was curious.
But see, the thing is, what I was trying to say was, I think JJ gave up hope of making the entire plot work. And was sort of went Prometheus with it, where he's just like, as long as 2 consecutive scenes make sense together, it doesn't matter if the whole thing works.
Okay.
And that's why I was saying, I was like, that's why Khan can't have any subtlety whatsoever, because if he's remotely charismatic in one scene, we might mistake him for the good guy.
That's a fair point.
Yeah, that's good.
that is really fair. And honestly,
Star Trek Into Darkness is a movie for babies.
As much as I love Prometheus, that's a fucking good point about Prometheus too.
Yeah, Prometheus, I call it it's locally good, just not globally. So like, as long as you take a small enough sample, it's really awesome. It's like a limit tangent derivative thing going on, but
plus it has Idris in it, so we know your thoughts on that.
Speaking of which, one of the really amazing parts of Star Trek Into Darkness that I know you guys aren't going to bring up is the hats.
Oh,
they have the red uniforms have matching hats, and I have been waiting my entire life for funny hats on the Star Trek stuff.
Hashtag matching hats.
Have sexy Kirk and sexy Spock and sexy Uhura all in matching outfits and hats under the thing and the arm, hat on. It's great. I mean, overall, the new uniforms in all the movies have been pretty good, but Star Trek Into Darkness had the best uniforms. So that's not in the world of making movies, that's important.
Right. It helps sells it.
It's not best boy important, but
no, nothing is best boy important. I do want to see if they try to pull off the Star Trek bikinis, right? So the Star Trek uniform bikinis. I think I see Spock as a Speedo guy. I see Kirk as the kind of shorts, but kind of shorts Speedo mix. And then Zoe Saldana has to wear a full, like, 1920s type bikini, like full outfit, because we know from the internet, she needs to be fully clothed at all times.
That's right. Was it Carol Marcus? She took the hit for showing being.
Yeah.
That was a weird part. I admit it was just a pure TNA shot, but the ramifications of that scene, I think, are still being felt.
Oh yeah, I think so.
Because I swear to God, because of that scene and the backlash JJ got, that's why Star Wars Force Awakens went the way it went.
Oh, with the character of
with Rey, yeah,
right, yeah,
flat chested, just good old Rey, yeah. I really think that reaction that JJ took, he wasn't prepared for that. He didn't know that was coming. And I think he corrected the course for Star Wars.
That's what he does, right? He course corrects with anything, right? I mean, that's 2009, right? Star Trek was a course correction, if you will, and so that's what JJ does. He likes to course correct things.
I guess so.
He saw the error of his ways into darkness.
That's a good point. Has he ever done two things in a row that we liked?
He did Cloverfield, right? The second Cloverfield.
He's a producer.
Did he do that?
Producer.
He produced it. He didn't direct that, right?
No.
Yeah.
But Amanda's two man's point. He's usually just a one and done kind of guy. He's
not even a one and done. It's barely a one and done, right?
Right.
What is it for Lost? He did the pilot episode, right? And then he bounced after that and just gave it to Lindelof and Cuse to run it. I can't even say that JJ is a one and done. Like even with, I guess with Star Wars, yeah, he did. Listen, I guess we gotta go back to hashtag synergy, because I liked episode 7, right? Like we gave it.
Force Awakens, and I still have a warm feelings towards it. I'll talk some shit, but
I think he did a really good job with that, to the point where there's no fucking way he was going to come back for episode 8.
You can't. Yeah.
You can't.
No.
I think I think his reputation is known, Amanda, like you said, where he can't do back-to-back things. So I think even going into it, they knew that JJ was going to do one of these films and then they're going to pass it on to someone else.
So yeah. No second dates.
Looking at the chat, I don't know if you have any money on basketball, but I guess Toronto won.
Oh, I don't do playoffs usually.
106, 100.
Nice.
Honey Boy saying #We the North. Talia agreeing with that. So then,
how are the Blue Jays doing there, you Canadians? How are the Blue Jays doing? 2-10. They're on the way to being 2-11.
Oh, Funny Boy is just asking all about which Star Trek movie is this one?
I can see that up there. That's funny. Oh man. Anything else?
So Into Darkness. No, let's go back to back to Into Darkness. Right.
Yes. They got warp. They got warp speed wrong.
Yes.
That's not warp speed. That's hyperspace, I guess you'd call it. The tunnel.
Ludicrous speed.
Yeah, the tunnel that you get knocked out of. that's not
ludicrous speed. Yes,
that's not a warp bubble. Nope.
Got all the Spaceballs references.
They went plaid.
Yeah.
I kind of wish there was elements of that in this movie. Really do. Like I wish there was humor. Wish there was some Marvel humor in this.
Man,
that would just make this awesome. Cool.
Oh God.
Yeah.
So Kirk starts off the movie as an impulsive captain who's just, never knows exactly what he's doing, just running by the seat of his pants, running and gunning. He gets reprimanded for that. And at the end of the movie, he's like, I don't even know what I'm supposed to do. And so he just flies by the seat of his pants, makes it up, and saves the day again. That's not quite a character arc, is it?
Oh, it's not a character arc at all. But I think it does a great job of setting up the Kirk for Star Trek Beyond. I give this movie at least credit for setting up the Kirk that we see at the beginning of Beyond. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I can say so, yeah.
Right? So it fails as a standalone movie, but if this was just a post-credits scene to Star Trek Beyond, if we could just have a post-credits scene, just cut Star Trek Into Darkness into a 5-minute post-credits scene at the end of 2009, Star Trek 2009 to set up Star Trek Beyond, I think I'd be happy with that.
So, like, play the trailer for Star Trek Into Darkness after 2009.
There you go. Right. Yeah.
And
that's
then,
it. And then that sets up right for Beyond. I think that's the proper. Ernest Reister has the his way of watching Star Wars movies. His
the Machete Order.
It's the Reister Order. It was the Reister Order that turned into the Machete Order. I think that's the proper way of watching this Star Trek trilogy. Is you watch 2009. The trailer for Into Darkness, and then Beyond. I think that's the way to do it.
So what are you going to call that order?
I don't know.
We don't have a name for it yet?
We don't have a name for it yet.
Okay.
Let's go to the chat. Maybe the chat can think of something. Yeah.
Because I think...
The synergy order. There you go.
Because I think we could actually put all of the Star Trek movies into an order, and, like, exclude... Insurrection and Nemesis, and maybe some of the original movies, depending on who's arguing with me. So this could be a whole other like tournament show, you guys.
Yeah, maybe I always consider that Nemesis is the nightmare that Picard has when he's when he's becoming a Borg, right?
So you should watch it in between the end of season 3 and season 4.
There you go, and it's a dream. This is a dream because it's the only way it makes sense.
I like that.
Right?
Too bad I don't know anyone who hasn't watched all of Star Trek already. Who am I possibly going to use this on?
Oh, man. Chat doesn't have anything to say about Into Darkness.
I don't think anybody has much to say about Into Darkness, really. I mean, it was okay at the time. Yeah.
They had really cool hats.
Do you think
No, it doesn't get a bad rap.
No, I wasn't going to say that. No. Do you think it gets too much hate though? Do you think because part of Jared Bradshaw's comments was that there's a bandwagon of hate on this movie, and that I was part of said bandwagon. And the reason that I'm hating it is because I have this hive mentality that I'm jumping in with people that hate this. No. Is there too much hate for it?
No, there isn't too much hate for it.
Saying Metacritic score was really high, right? I don't know. I'm taking his comments. I haven't validated these, but he's saying that's the second highest IMDb rating and second highest Metascore is what he's saying.
I got a 72 on Metacritic, so yeah, it was well liked by the critics. Hashtag Ghostbusters.
Yeah, does a man have anything to drink?
I don't have anything to drink.
No, I'm just messing around. Yeah, I
see.
If you're arguing pure statistics, yeah, of course. But I think we do see that there was an aftermath of this movie.
Sure.
Yeah, the next one didn't do so well. People were disinterested.
I think the other issue is that, and this is a little bit true for Star Wars, Star Trek is successful because it combines multiple things. So different kinds of people can like the same thing for different reasons.
Right.
And one of the things that's so disappointing about Star Trek Into Darkness is that it took like half of the things and then didn't do them very well. And so a lot of the people who are like, I like Star Trek and I think optimism and a utopian society and being a good person are what makes Star Trek Star Trek. And those people are all incredibly disappointed by Into Darkness. So I think there are a lot of people who took it personally. And that's why, even if it may have like technically been an okay movie, especially for people who don't like write Star Trek fan fiction, that's why like the responses were so intense.
Right.
Like it would be like if they did Star Wars. It would be like if they did Star Wars without Jedi.
Well, maybe we'll find out. The Last Jedi. I guess to counter argue with the whole bandwagon thing. If it's got 86% Rotten Tomato score, which is 90% of audience liked it. If it's got a 72% Metacritic score, if it's got the second highest IMDb rating, what kind of bandwagon am I on then?
Yeah.
To me, that means there is a small, passionate portion of Star Trek fans that really, really hate this movie.
Yeah,
and then
It's all the people who ship Spock and Kirk instead of Spock and Uhura. That's what I was trying to get at before.
Yeah.
I guess hashtag shipping, right?
Yeah.
Oh, star shipping.
Hashtag star shipping. There we go. We got something new.
Yeah.
Hashtag star shipping.
But it was voted, to be fair, by Star Trek fans as at that Las Vegas convention several years back, the worst Star Trek film.
It was
of all time.
right.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think maybe we got to separate this. Maybe there's Star Trek fans, and then there's just general movie. Like if you could take a subsection of that Rotten Tomato score, right, and see maybe just general population like it. Maybe China like this. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't think so.
Maybe China like this. It's like the Fate and the Furious, right?
There were no mermaids in this, so I can't comment on whether China would like it or not.
Marty says that I love wagons. Is that a comment about me falling off the wagon? Is that it? I'm drinking water, Marty.
The
What are you drinking?
bandwagon.
What are you drinking? Huh? You're on a bus. Probably drinking beer. On a bus. Because I used to. That same bus. Hashtag swallow sadness.
There you go. Well, yeah, Star Trek and Star Wars just typically don't do well in China. Star Trek Into Darkness made $57 million in China. Rogue One made $69 million in China.
They just don't like outer space.
Yeah, maybe
Well,
they just, yeah.
I mean, outer space if it's Transformers, though, right? Does the Dark of the Moon or whatever? Dark at the Moon?
Dark Side.
Dark Side of the Moon?
Okay, I'm going to have to...
Dark Side of the Spoon?
I'm going to have to look into this a little bit more because in the last 2 years, my husband and a few of his friends have read translations of Chinese science fiction novels and also one or two Japanese ones. And he says that they're very different in that, like, part of the science fiction-y aspect is also just that the world is strange in other ways. Like, I don't really quite know how to articulate it, and he couldn't quite either, but maybe like the science fiction genre doesn't really work the same way in their culture right now.
Right.
Maybe it's really
I can see that.
difficult to translate technobabble and have it work. Because
and considering
Star
Japan
Trek
is just already futuristic, like their society is already futuristic, so I wonder if to them that's,
because Star Trek is a lot of words and ideas, and if you don't, well, because the joke was always Star Trek was like, here's a problem, which is a loose analogy for something else, and then we're going to use this other unrelated metaphor to technobabbly solve the problem.
right.
And so if the word play in there and the analogy and the metaphor don't work, then you're like, it's just a bunch of boring people on a spaceship talking about stuff with bad special effects.
It's a great point.
Yeah.
And Star Wars would be the same way.
Very much so. Even though Star Wars ripped off a lot of the Japanese samurai films
Somewhat.
Yeah.
that were so beloved and the philosophy behind those, but yes.
But so maybe I'll read some of the books that he's picked up, but that is something I would love to read science fiction, which is also like bizarre. Like I love Isaac Asimov, but I don't need to keep reading Isaac Asimov over and over again for the rest of my life, written by other people who read Isaac Asimov growing up.
Yeah, right. So they would be confused when they say, like, you use a cold fusion bomb to stop a volcano. I can see that. Goddamn, this movie was just so bad on so many levels. You know, I'm not going to say it killed Star Trek, but it definitely derailed it, and we'll see.
It derailed it because it took a while for them to make Beyond as well.
Yeah,
the different rounds before they finally kicked out the last of the Orky, right? The Bob Orchie.
Well, apparently Paramount was livid that Guardians of the Galaxy was doing so well and Star Trek was not.
Yeah. It was rightfully so, though.
Yeah.
I mean, rightfully so. And I think they're going to have another issue when this next Guardians movie comes out.
Star Trek is just not for the wide audiences. It's just not there.
It's not. And I think that's what makes me excited about the TV show that's coming out.
Except it was supposed to already be out. Like right now, we should be talking about like the last episode of it.
Fair point.
I'm not even joking.
But I mean, is not Brian Fuller? I won't say Fuller's to blame, but I would say that Fuller's involvement or lack of involvement or confusion of what his involvement was going to be, I think that's what's kind of derailed this. I think it's going to get back on track. I think it's going to be fine. What I've seen so far of American Gods, what Fuller's involved with, it's pretty good. So maybe he made the right choice of him being involved in something like that. And we'll see. We'll see. I'm optimistic. I'm cautiously optimistic that the show's still going to be good. But you're right. We should be actually. Episode should be talking about the finale of that. It'd be a wrap up episode.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Can you believe that they used time travel again, and that it was a closed causality paradox? They caused the problem they were trying to fix.
They rebooted
Kelsey
the
Grammer
reboot.
was there.
Yeah. God.
That is if you ever want to do the Star Trek drinking game, that's the best episode where they repeat the time loop over and over again, and then Kelsey Grammer's there at the end.
Frasier should be there at the end all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Post credit sequence.
There you go. There you go.
Okay.
Is this episode going to have a post credit sequence?
No.
Probably not.
Yeah, we don't have credits.
Okay, yeah.
They get to stare at your name all episode.
I feel bad for the best boy involved with this show because we don't have credits to give him credit. Fun fact: the best boy for movies and stuff is actually a woman. Let that soak in. Let that soak in for a minute. I think that's a perfect segue into closing out this show.
I think so.
Thanks to everyone in the chat. This is really fun. Ponyboy saying hashtag 12 angry men for life. That might be the last hashtag for the show.
That was his. Yes, he's still on the 12 Angry Men kick. That's funny.
Honestly, I think that's going to do it. That's going to be the last. There you go. Hashtag 12 angry men for life. Thanks for everything in the chat. It was a blast. I like the new setup, Abe. I think you did a wonderful job. This looks really cool. And the fact that you've given me more power.
There you go.
To do stuff like this. This looks awesome. Please make sure to like this video. Please subscribe to our channel. We keep getting subscribers, which means we're doing something right. I don't know if we're down to like 4 dislikes this episode. Maybe 5.
I disliked it, but that's normal.
Amanda is yet to say if she likes this episode or not. She's gonna have to rewatch and see.
She's got to come back and revisit it to see. Listen to the audio commentary on.
You know, I feel like maybe small segments of it are good, but that the whole thing.
It's the Prometheus theory. There you go.
Yeah.
Just kind of cut it up, and it's a good show.
It was very small segments.
Make sure to follow us on Facebook and on Twitter at Movie Stuff Show. In fact, if it wasn't for a follower on Facebook, we might not have done this show. So if you have ideas for shows, if you want to call me an idiot, if you want to call me an idiot, we'll do an episode just because you called me an idiot. It's a true story.
Yep.
That's how kind of a revengeful prick I am.
Yeah, you hit him right in the ego. He can't take that.
I don't know what we're doing next week. We're thinking maybe debate show next week.
Debate show.
Thinking maybe debate show next week, next Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern.
Trying to get that jerk friend of yours to come on.
I have lots of jerk friends, so you have to specify a bit more. What you mean? Amanda, thanks for joining us again. I hope
You're
you had a
welcome.
blast. You made some great points. I think we're gonna have to. Do a commentary. As Abe said, I think we're gonna have to do a commentary on this episode at a later date.
Yeah.
How meta would that be? Because we're just gonna take this episode in a later date, and we're all gonna just do a commentary track to this episode.
This is not the episode I would pick for doing that.
Amateur night.
Yeah.
Amateur
On
night.
the anniversary of amateur night, every year we'll
Hashtag synergy. Got to.
I'm clicking stop the stream.
Good night. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.